Welcome back, one and all, to the EMEA Masters. We are still Usheen and Dagda bringing you the full Irish combination for our games today. We're going to be bringing you a very important match. You would argue the most important match in this group now. It is going to be Los Heretics versus the Istanbul Wildcats. Winner gets that all-important first seed going into quarters.
And that's going to be absolutely incredible to be able to pick up the battle for first here in Group A. And honestly, it could go either direction, right? This is an incredibly difficult one to call. Heretics just coming off the back of a really strong victory over GK. Istanbul Wildcats, though, are no pushovers whatsoever, and I expect them to be coming in all guns blazing against the LVP representative here.
Yeah, and again, like, you know, the TCL coming in, this is their kind of first split within the EMEA Masters, and it's really going to be a bit of a statement you want to see to kind of go, like, look, yes, we were a team that used to get into Worlds play-ins. Now we're obviously kind of coming into this tournament. We need to come up big. We need to be showing you why you need to fear us. And I do feel like right now, between themselves, the LFL, and of course, as you mentioned, the Superliga, there is a lot to be, you know, kind of like respectful of coming into this, you know, kind of matchup here.
Yeah, I think as well, just singular matchups across the board is going to be incredibly important. I mean, we just saw Ibo pop off there in the last game, going on towards the Gwen, destroy a big carry player coming from that top side. So I expect a lot of back and forth there, especially when it comes into champ select to see who can get control over that side. And then again, I think Bao has been such a big performer coming through for Istanbul Wildcats as well. We'll have to see if Flakked is going to be able to keep control like he did in that last game to make sure that you're setting up for these big team fights.
I love, I'm just saying, like, I know it's a win, but I love how the first clip we get in the highlight reel for Los Heretics is you miss-smited on the Rift Herald the first time, and we're not going to have it. But look, you know, obviously we just came off the back of Los Heretics picking up that win, and a big kind of momentum kind of shifter there. And I will say that kind of the big thing that I will say that, you know, if the side of Istanbul Wildcats can kind of, you know, capitalize on is if they can stop Ibo from getting those big kind of, you know, carries on the top side. Obviously, it's only one game sample size, but I mean, I'm going to be a bit fearful now. You can't be kind of saying like, oh, you're on tank duty, you'll deal with it, because he will take full advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like Ibo has leaned more towards the tanks at the moment, especially Cassante, right? But certainly across his career, he's looked great in the Jaces, the Gnars. Like, he's definitely able to flex in towards those carry performers. So I'm expecting to see a bit of a back and forth there against destroying the top side. And again, Bao and Parus in this top side, or bottom side, I really feel like you're going to have to see if these teams are going to play hyper aggressive towards that bot lane, because again, I think Parus has looked really strong, but is also sometimes this bot lane has gone over aggressive at times and actually given teams an opportunity to fight back against them. And when everything is to play for in this game, you want to make sure that you're coming in all guns blazing.
And that's absolutely it. Again, we cannot, you know, stress enough how important it is to get that first seed, and just to give yourself that little bit of advantage. Again, you know, regardless of who you're playing against, I think everyone in the top 8 of the EMEA Masters is going to be exceptionally difficult and prepared. But it is just kind of one of those things that, like, if you can give yourself any kind of advantage, you should be taking it. So I will be expecting to see the Istanbul Wildcats kind of come out here full, all guns blazing. And of course, we had the last matchup against these two guys, and it did kind of, you know, came down to a bit of a mechanical setup. It was who could take those team fights better than the other team.
And it's interesting to see how the initial early game goes before we even get to those team fights, because I look at Elramir, right, who has been very heavy in playing around that bot side, trying to make sure that he set up for team fights. But when we look towards bluerzor, I think bluerzor hasn't been as lane focused. He's been more like, okay, cool, can I get the lanes to work for me? Look for these engages. And it's more falling back towards Zwyroo to try and play this, hey, I'm actually going to lean and try and look for plays, especially on something like the Lissandra, where he kind of dictates the pace of the early game. So it nearly feels like we've actually got a mid versus jungle, or else, you know, kind of looking at this big invade that I think Elramir is going to have to try and deal with in these early stages. And I think that's a lot of where the focus is going to be before we even hit those late game fights, in trying to see if Heretics can just sweep this early game and make it easy for themselves.
Oh, we shall wait and see no longer. The Superliga number 2 seed versus the TCL number 1. Both on 4-1. Winner gets themselves into first position, and the momentum that can bring with it as well can be all important. So we're going to see now a couple of very standard ones. I think the Draven forwards Flakked is a fairly respectful one, especially if you know your bot lane goes a little bit too aggressive sometimes. You don't want to be giving them too easy of a time.
Yeah, I think things like the affiliates are going to be a big one in this as well. I know Bao has really enjoyed that, especially with Parus taking some of the Thresh into his hands. And it's kind of been the one that Flakked is defaulted to. Even we saw it back when he's in LEC as well. So I think we'll see a lot of push over towards that. Although as I look towards the Zai ban, sorry, the Vi ban, there's a chance that we're going to see something like a Zeri or even like a Wukong start to rise up in priority. Now with the Xayah taken away as well.
Bot lane focus there as well. Of course, the Vi just feels like it's always going to be a bit of a permaban against any kind of decent jungler because it is that point-and-click CC, very easy to get the engages off. And the Lee Sin, bluerzor will not be getting that back one now after playing a very, very solid game there against GK. And we'll see what Los Heretics want to try and bring back as the last ban here, see where they're going to try and focus. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see another jungle ban themselves, depending on what way they kind of feel that the draft will be going at the first start.
They chase respect going towards Kofte, so I think this is a Wukong first pick. That's usually why you see something like a Lee Sin band there to make sure that you can actually get that. And then you're going to be looking across the opposite side. Do we see the Aphelios? Do we see the Zeri? Flakked being able to play both of them means that you're probably going to see sort of change, but actually not going to be the case. So hovering the Gragas at the moment definitely keeps that flexibility open. But I do think if you're going to end up taking something like that Wukong now, you're going to be in a relatively good spot regardless when it comes towards those team fights. And as we've already highlighted, the Zeri up and available seems like a no-brainer to take that one.
Yeah, definitely feels like it's going to be the more option. Could go for the Jinx. We have seen the Jinx kind of being a little bit of a priority as well for a lot of different teams. Zeri does feel like it has a lot of Zeri moments, of course. Blef definitely feels like more pentakills than any other champion I've ever seen in the history of LoL esports. But the Gragas locked in there. Could be a jungle Gragas. Could technically be a mid as well. We've seen it over in the LCK quite a bit and a little bit in the LPL. But definitely a good start off here for the Los Heretics draft. I do like having the Sejuani. It's very solid, very easy to kind of get your engage off, and very much gives you opportunities even before pre-6 to get things off.
Yeah, I think the good response, though, from Istanbul Wildcats going towards the Jinx, you're seeing a relatively short-range composition, probably going to be started by Heretics, so you take the Jinx. Maybe you actually end up taking the Thresh here just to make sure that you can get that paired with some sort of safety. And even then, coming in towards the next draft, you can go towards like a K'Sante in the top lane for Destroy if you really want to, although, as we said, he's tended to lean more in towards those carry champions. But I think this would actually be a really good draft where you do end up trying to just play more for the big team fight with a lot of range and try to play keep away from your backline.
Keep away a little bit. We'll wait to see if this Alistar is locked in. Haven't seen one in a while, but the Blitzcrank's definitely been popping up a little bit, and that's going to be locked in, loaded here for Marlon. Was kind of sick of getting rocket grabbed in that last game. Now wants to do a little bit of the grabbing himself.
It's a good answer to the Thresh as well. Thresh basically CCs himself when he throws out the hook, so you get to very quickly respond as the Blitzcrank, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to put that one to good use. Immediately, though, it feels like there's going to be a lot of presence down towards the spot side, especially when you want to try and play aggressive with the splits, with the Zeri, put pressure on towards the Jinx. So I'm expecting bluerzor to be a little bit more lane focused this game, I'll say, to try and move down towards that bot side. We'll have to see if they can get something for Zwyroo that can help out as well.
And looking at this kind of first bans as well, we can see that the top lane taking a lot of focus here from these first two kind of bans in the second phase. But I like the Fiora ban coming in. Again, it spells to me that they are trying to get something that Ibo can maybe work with a little bit better. Maybe like a Sion, who he's not worried that, people will be killing him off, too much. They don't have to put as much, emphasis on getting him ahead.
I'm curious as well if it's actually just going to be the... God, what was the... I think they're going to go for his K'Sante ban, so I haven't seen the Jax picked up. I played by Destroy at least this split. That's what I was just double checking there. So I'm actually curious to see what exactly they want to try and go with. The Olaf was the other one that stood out to me, which dipped into my brain somewhere in the depths of the game. I think the
it's
Olaf...
almost like there's 162 champions and a million players to look at every week.
But I think the Olaf could be an option here for destroying that top side. Also, just having that major threat for something like the Zeri to keep her in check could work out well. But we'll have to see. I think Ibo going for the K'Sante here, just with the Fiora ban and also the Renekton ban.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Could go with the Gnar as well. Still has plenty of engage options and can start picking things up. I will say, it does mean that you're not going to have the, as easy of a time getting that permafrost off, of course, with the Sejuani when you're in that mini Gnar form. But you get a good Gnar ultimate. We've seen it a million times over. You can change the dynamic of any fight.
This would be such a good Kennen angle for Destroy, though. You get good matchup into the Gnar, you outrange the Gnar, which Gnar just hates at every point in time. And then as well, you've set up where you've got very short range composition. Gnar, the Kennen comes through, it's going to be brilliant. And you can see they're already locked in. Great front line. Now you pair with the Wukong that's managed to slip its way through the draft. A lot of damage, great team fight, great opportunities to actually play for and open up the team fights for this Jinx as well. I love what Istanbul Wildcats bring to the table here.
Yeah, it really does feel like they kind of have an answer for everything that the side of Los Heretics has. However, you do have that final pick. And Event Horizon could do a hell of a lot to stop anyone from kind of coming in on top of this one here. They're kind of toying the idea there with Zwyroo and what he wants to try and bring into that mid lane. We'll see what he wants to go for. Goes with Taliah in the end, and kind of a similar idea. If he can separate people out, force out summoners earlier, you know, kind of get that control around the area, it can definitely be a much more difficult time for the Istanbul Wildcats to make, you know, the big team fight happen that you just described.
And I think a lot of it is going to be a case of trying to interrupt, as you say, the Gragas, the Wukong dash, even maybe a proto belt, depending on the build we see. The big problem that I'm looking at, though, is nobody really here at Heretics can run exhaust for that Kennen. Traditionally, you'd see it come in on the support, but because you're playing the Blitzcrank, you kind of want to play hyper aggressive. So not having that exhaust is probably going to come back to bite Heretics as we get into this game, unless Destroy actually ends up falling behind, which honestly, with the way I see this draft working, isn't going to happen. Chances are Destroy is going to be left in a 1v1 against Ibo because they're going to be playing around that Blitzcrank in the bot side, trying to get Zwyroo involved as well. Like, I think this is where you kind of take the hit and just take the exhaust if you're Marlon, but with 4 seconds left, I don't think it's going to be the case.
I know Lore is her League of Legends ick is not taking exhaust against Kennen. I know that for a fact, so definitely going to see how it kind of works out there. And again, look, it just feels like it can be, it is just such a game changer. You talked about the benefits, obviously, and you know, we're not going to see it here, but again, that means you're going to have to be proactive here with this Blitzcrank. You need to make this Ignite work. You need to make sure that you're getting those kills early. Otherwise, if you just take the Ignite and it's just there to kind of, you know, be a presence, it's not really that worth it for you. So we'll see what Lost Heretics are able to do come into this game. But like you said, I think plenty of engage options available for the side of Istanbul Wildcats. And we can't overstate it. This is a chance to secure yourself into that #1 seed, get yourself a solid matchup going into the quarterfinals. And then look, once you're in there, anything can happen here.
And I think the big one is going to be a case of, okay, can we actually get the, can we get a big opportunity here for multiple flank angles for Istanbul Wildcats? Are you going to be able to get Elramir in a decent spot, Kofte to be able to move in on a flank, try and get access to Zwyroo and Flakked? Because there's not a huge amount of appeal there for them with this Blitzcrank, so it is going to be a case of Heretics trying to pick up the pace in the early stages, and if Istanbul Wildcats can contain them and then set up for fights later.
All right, jumping onto the Rift for this do or die game between these two teams. They are both locked for quarterfinals. It's not the last time we will see these two teams here at the EMEA Masters, but it is definitely one that can change the fate of you kind of further on in the tournament. You don't want to be going up a lot against the likes of maybe even, you know, Go Esports or even LDLC if they end up kind of going into it.
I think both these squads, even just for kind of taking your pride into account as well, for the LVP, getting a first in coming out of the groups is going to be massive, especially for a region that has so much history in performing at the EMEA Masters. And then looking at Istanbul Wildcats as well, first time TCL has been adopted in towards the EMEA Masters. They're going to want to show that, hey, look, our region's been to Worlds, we got to show you how it's done.
Absolutely. We should see a little bit of kind of, you know, a slow start. I think both teams happy to kind of see how things go. I will be keeping my eyes on this top lane, though, as you mentioned. Destroy with the advantage in the range and having just so much more kind of to deal with this Gnar in these early stages. I think Ibo feel a very, very frustrated man. Not able to get get that harass off. It's kind of why you want the mini Gnar. You want it to take it into a melee matchup, so you have that little bit of early presence, but not to be here for the moment. We'll see kind of any jungle attention ends up being kind of drawn up this way.
I'd be very surprised if we did. We kind of already talked about, like, bluerzor definitely wanting to put more pressure down towards this bottom lane when you've got the Blitzcrank there, or at least, you know, link up in a 2v2, maybe put pressure mid. But at the moment, you're going to be looking at Zwyroo just pushing in this mid lane. bluerzor actually moving up towards this top side, so maybe a case of, okay, look, we know that Bao and Parus are going to be able to push in this bot side. They're probably going to reset off the 3rd, 4th wave and look for a cull, which is what a lot of these Jinxes tend to do into matches like the Aphelios and also into the Zeri, and just try and snowball themselves that little bit quicker.
Well, this is the hook down, but hooked back in. Ignite comes out from both of these supports. Happy to kind of trade back health bars just a little bit. Marlon not taking the most favorable of trades at the end of it all, but still kind of part, you know, kind of way of the course, really, to be perfectly honest. You got the Jinx and the Thresh, you got so much extra little bit of CC available to you. It kind of makes those early few engages a little bit more favorable towards that pairing, but we'll see. One good hook from either of these teams and either of these supports can change a huge dynamic of this fight.
it's also the fact that you just get the push as Bao and Parus in these early stages. You've got the range, you've got the ability to use the rockets to shove in. So this is what we're talking about now. You crash fourth wave, reset, get your cull. Oh, not actually going to get the cull. Going to instead go for the boots and the longsword, but just getting that early advantage, putting pressure onto Flakked now, where he's not really in a position to reset, as he just can't push the wave as fast, especially with Marlon missing. But now Marlon, considering moving in towards the mid lane, but Elramir is already here thinking of a gank of his own.
I was going to say, plenty of vision control around here. They do not want this Taliah to have any help whatsoever. Thanks so much, observers. They are going to know it. He sneezes in that blue side. They are going to know about it. So, for the moment, definitely getting their information there. Of course, if you don't see Sejuani in the blue side jungle, you can pretty much guarantee they're probably on the top side. So, lack of information in itself is information.
Yeah, and that's exactly all they're looking for at the moment. They'll be able to figure out exactly what bluerzor's path is. Note he's probably going to be resetting at the moment. Good sidestep from Parus there, but we actually see Bao did end up going for the cull in the end. So this is where you want, as Flakked, to be able to crash this wave, but Istanbul Wildcats are actually doing a really good job on the bot side of not making it easy for Flakked to go for the reset. Now should be able to try and push this wave out and make sure that Flakked loses at least some control and some CS for the fact is the reset here.
The reset there. They're going to try and stop this wave from crashing into the tower. Looks like they're relatively successful with it, so it'll be difficult to really kind of see there. I think it's just unfortunate way for that to hit for the Lost Heretics bot side, but shouldn't be too much of a big difference here. And it's all quiet right now, Dagta. Definitely a lot more quiet than we were kind of, not maybe expected, but definitely what we experienced in our first game we casted here, game number 4. And maybe this time around we'll get a little bit of a situation here. You got pressure in bot and in mid. So it is Lost Heretics who kind of find themselves in a much stronger position just to burn this one down.
Yeah, I mean, just a nice call from Heretics. They're looking. Oh, just goes wide.
There's no real CC to kind of come out of this just yet. And yeah, not gonna be there. Flakked says thank you very much to Bao for getting him over the wall with the last cone. And yeah, that's just gonna be first dragon. Nicely done there by Lost Heretics. And they keep themselves in a good position as Kofte. Find Zwyroo, maybe force a flash out of him. Yeah, you have to do it there. You were level down. There's plenty of CC available there for the Istanbul Wildcats.
Yeah, so Heretics actually found it a really nice timing window there. You had Bao who went for the freeze into a slow push, so you could actually have Istanbul Wildcats move over to do the dragon. But because they were so slow in it and they knew that Parus had reset, you can't actually really flash that push that is Bao because you don't know where Marlon is. So Heretics, read it well, take dragon, and then don't give these Istanbul Wildcats to actually use that advantage that they picked up on that bot lane through the lane advantage. So nicely done, and just kind of putting a bit of pressure now on towards Istanbul Wildcats, saying, hey look, you can have this control over bot side, but we have control over mid and can use it well.
Yeah. Immediately we see Zwyroo getting caught out, trying to see if he can keep his flash as long as he possibly can. The ignite, the flash, and the empowered auto attack coming out from the Thresh. It just feels like he just couldn't really get away from everyone piling in on top of him.
It was so close to it though. Parus not quite being able to connect with the hook, but really nice job from Kofte there to set that one up. The fact you managed to just barely get that cask in behind to get the knockback onto the Taliah was so important. The slow, the knockback just sets up beautifully then. And this is where it did look a little bit dangerous, but Parus with the ignite and the flash means at least they're able to get something back. Not the best though that it goes on to the support, but it's about getting control over this mid lane and actually open up a bit of a nice CS lead for the Gragas.
Yeah, and just really good capitalization there from the Istanbul Wildcats, recognizing, look, Zwyroo doesn't have his flash. Very easy for us to kind of make this one work. And there wasn't really losing anything, as you said, from the bot lane or even from the jungle. So very nicely done. It's actually, despite all the time that Parus has been sending towards this mid lane, it's actually a CS lead for the moment in favor of Bao. So still doing very well, despite being in a 1v2 at times. And I haven't had a look at the kind of CS numbers right now, and it's kind of exactly what you said it would be. 20 CS lead there for Destroy on the Kennen. Just outranges you, it's just how it is. A little bit of a CS lead in the mid lane. And honestly, it's just kind of passive advantages coming out here for the side of the Istanbul Wildcats as they look to try and just continue to get these small little bits of openings. Is it going to be the hook coming out? But yeah, there's not much for Marlon to do. And that's just a very easy 3v2 kill going out on the bot side.
And again, this is kind of what we're talking about, right? Elramir has been really good at playing around bot side, but bluerzor has been able to get down and now in trouble himself.
No explosive cast there for Kofte just yet, so Definitely was waiting for that little bit of a cooldown before he could really fully commit to it. Zwyroo seeing if he can maybe put down a little bit of harm, but you have so much sustain here with the Gragas, especially when you start building up that tier as well, which he has now got. It just makes it so difficult to really kind of harass him out of lane with his passive.
Yeah, and that's kind of now where the problem is going to lie for Heretics. I think they did a nice job getting that first dragon for themselves, but with the fact that you don't have a huge amount of control over this bot side now, top lane fully in control for Destroy, you're kind of reliant on, hey, can we make a play in towards this mid lane now? bluerzor does have ultimate, so maybe they can make something happen, but we just haven't seen Heretics really link up through their mid jungle to make plays work, and it's coming back now where Istanbul Wildcats are happy to let it work.
Cool. See Ibo looking to try and go very aggressive here on the Destroy. Still got the Slicing Maelstrom. Actually, Destroy went back and bought up 2 items straight off the bat, nearly getting himself to a full rocket belt, but actually stops the Herald take there from bluerzor as we did see Ibo trying to just get full control over this. There's going to be a hook coming over the wall as they try and burn down the damage, but Parus is still fairly decently tanky at this stage of the game. They finally get him down as Flakked jumps in. There's the explosive cast into the Cyclone. The Lightning Crash should come out to maybe try and take down this Wukong. Good flash from Marlon, but can he escape? That's the question. No, he cannot. And all that little bit of damage they needed just wasn't enough to take him down. Now Kofte needs to be careful here. Yes, he's got some decent damage, but if he... Oh my god!
What?
They didn't smite! bluerzor didn't smite! Oh my god, I was looking at it, I was just... Oh man, that sucks.
I mean, 2 games in a row we get these steals coming in, and it all started off so well for Heretics. Ibo actually managing to get that good trade onto Destroy means that he can't get involved in the top side. And then it all goes just absolutely awry. So Parus taking a few steps too far forward. Elramir had already gone the other direction, and a good hook from Marlon immediately gets the kill on towards the Thresh. But after that, Kofte comes in, manages to set up a kill then for the Wukong. Still, Heretics do get the kill advantage, which you can see here. Ibo is able to move down because he's already got a ton of pressure on towards the Kennen in the top lane, which makes this fight very uneven. But we're going to see it now. Kofte, I cannot believe that he actually manages to steal.
It's Ibo hitting the eye, and that gives him so much damage straight away. bluerzor was just not right. I think bluerzor was waiting for the barrel to go away. Ibo hits the eye. It all goes pear-shaped. You know what? I'm gonna give bluerzor a pass on that. I don't think that one's his fault. I think he just wasn't expecting 800, 900 damage off the health bar to go out from nowhere.
Well, we'll have to see if we can have a better time with the dragon. It's now spawned on this bot side. Resets have just come through for Istanbul Wildcats. No mythic picked up apart from the Wukong just yet, but not having TP for Destroy makes this very difficult for Istanbul Wildcats to try and commit to, because Ibo can't TP in towards mid lane and then try and look for the fight. bluerzor already gets caught by the hook, but that's where Heretics now feel comfortable. It looks like trying to get control over the dragon, but just going to start it up now.
Also, I just realized as well that, yes, look, the bar and the Riftfell gets taken away. It's actually slightly worse than the first time, as Kennen did pick it up as well. They actually let that one happen, but we are going to see decent damage come in. They're going to catch out the Wukong, who does have his ultimate. They get some decent bursts down, but Kofte now not really in a position to kind of go for it, but you've got the rockets and the excitement that can come in. Double kill here for Bao. And not going to be able to get Flakked. You can see Zwyroo trying to see if he can maybe burn out a little bit more. These health bars are so low! And Parus takes one more. He got him! The Jinx cannot do it. Zwyroo goes golden. The Dragon being the 6th man at the side of Lost Heretics means it's a 1 fight for the LVP representatives.
The hook, though, the auto, the flame!
I don't think he wants it! He gets the ignite down. Does he have enough to survive? He does not! What is with these bloodthirsty supports today? The ignites are coming up trumps.
4 kills for Parus in that bottom lane. And there was only one way that fight could have ended, and it had to be playmaking on both sides. Already, great ultimate onto Elramir means that he's not in the best of spots. Just set up for the kind of duo ultimate. Kofte, though, not being able to get on towards the to Flakked means that this area is actually doing quite a bit of damage. And it comes down to Parus having to flash forward to help take care of Flakked alongside Bao. But the Taliah here getting so much work done. And then in the end, Taliah thought she had it, but it's a Thresh who comes out on top.
Yeah, we gotta go back to live because we know that there could be a fight happening anytime soon. And it looks like topside would have been the option for them. They actually kind of backed themselves away a little bit. They don't have a wave anymore. I wish we had a graphics stat that could show you how much damage Dragon did. That would be so cool to be able to see, because he was hitting for quite a long time. So, you know, genuinely did a lot of work there into several low health bars, but never to be, not to be. We are going to come back in. There's going to be the Dragon secured here by the side of Istanbul Wildcats, and an Infernal Rift. That is a huge buff for either of these teams. Now, Ibo needs to be very aware that Destroy has got himself that rocket belt and can close the distance very quickly. Oh, jump in, misses the chomp down, does get a little bit damage back on top of that. I actually think that Destroy needs to drop the Rift Tail very soon.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I was about to say, I was just kind of holding off, going like, is he gonna get this up? But just about manages to Destroy now. Actually, the opportunity to go into Ibo with that ultimate if he gets a chance. Ibo needs to be very careful here.
Do not get baited, but maybe it's a bait either way. There's a Slicey Maelstrom, a hop away. And there's going to be the jungler. The Flakked here for some reason gets the flash out of the Kennen. Rift Herald will get dropped down into that top lane, but again, you can see the damage coming down. The Immortal Shield Ball doing so much to keep Flakked alive, but not enough. As the Monkey's staff comes in, there's more players to be coming into this. Ibo can kite this one out. They did have to use the body slam to get back into this. The Proto Belt to try and catch him in the air. And while that's all happening, bot lane's getting taken in here by the Taliah. It's all getting very scrappy, but it is still the Istanbul Wildcats who are ahead by about 4,000 gold.
Problem is you just don't have damage on this Taliah for the turrets at the moment, though. So you're going to get the tower to drop in favor of Kofte in that top lane. You're going to have a lot of damage put on towards the mid lane turret as well, which is why you're seeing bluerzor and Marlon try and reset very, very quickly. But honestly, I don't think they're going to be here in time. So that will be 2 towers potentially going across here for Istanbul Wildcats.
You can see there, just having that Gale Force, just giving you a little bit of extra confidence, and of course the Lantern to take you out of any danger should you find yourself in, so decent bit of damage. But look at this, because again, it gets so scrappy, and it's looking like Ibo almost gets baited by the Herald, and then just takes the fight for himself. Yeah,
Destroy was trying to see if Ibo would commit to actually getting back into lane, trying to play it for a Flakked, but not realizing that the Wukong was just over the wall. Kofte also in a position to roam up here, as you can see Taliah had actually already started to move down towards that bot lane, so just a nice job by the Istanbul Wildcats to outnumber Heretics on this top end. And just a bit unfortunate for Heretics, they try to make too many plays across the map on both opposite ends, and it ends up coming back to bite them.
Well, they're going for more plays. They feel like they're not really coming out of this one the best, and they're still in a blue, but they will lose that bot lane tower. So we're starting to see very low towers kind of being dropped right now. 1,500 gold lead in the top lane, 1,000 in the jungle, 1,200 in the AD carries, and actually about 1,500 in the supports, because it's 4-2 and 4 Parus right now. He is very rich as a support. We are going to have the ultimates come out. I held my breath because I'm going to be honest with you, bluerzor, your smites on the Rift Heralds have not been the securest, but he will, much like in game number 2 or 4 today, get himself that second Herald.
The 2 towers go down in favor of Istanbul Wildcats, with bot falling top incredibly low as well. So although you do end up with the Rift Herald, definitely map control for the moment in favor of Istanbul Wildcats, and top and mid still relatively healthy. So unless you can have Heretics kind of group up as a 4-man unit to collapse onto this mid lane with the Rift Herald, it's going to be difficult. Zwyroo is in this bot side though, so maybe you have an opportunity here to shove that bot and then try and collapse on towards mid with that Taliah, but you definitely need to make sure that bluerzor is here on the play as well.
We're gonna have a bit of a time now, minimum of 40 before any kind of real team fight action should be happening, but we will have a movement down towards the spot side. That ward is going to do its absolute best to make sure they know exactly what happened just before it dies, and they now know that they've been spotted out, but the turret does get secured by the side of Zwyroo now at the very least. He's got himself up to his Leandri's Anguish. We're also waiting for some big first items to come out here for the side of Los Heretics. They are a little bit behind the curve, but especially in that top side, like you really want Ibo to be able to kind of have that big damage to kind of put Bao under threat, but not having that first item completed is going to be very muted until the first kind of setup really comes in.
Yeah, this game is looking pretty dire for Heretics. The fact you have, the 1.3k gold lead for Destroy, and it's 1.3 plus change because you still have to sell the coal for Bao as well. Like, you're really starting to accelerate into this game, and the problem is a lot of your team is very, very short range. Now, obviously with the Blitzcrank, one hook can change it all, but I still think with the opportunity for Istanbul Wildcats to try and play through side lanes and trying to use the fact that you have this big Kennen can work. But as we just saw, Istanbul Wildcats aren't really looking for like cross maps. Instead, they're trying to match where Heretics is making plays, which is actually going to be a benefit for Heretics, because if they're not losing more, they're buying time for this late game Taliah for Zeri to come online. They can actually look for these fights and potential picks onto Wukong.
Oh, he knew it though. They knew he was going to look for something there. The seismic shove doesn't land, neither does the death sentence. Dragon spawning in 8 seconds. You got Ivo looking very good, but the glacial prison goes completely wide. He nearly gets up to his ultimate form as quick as he possibly can. Finally does get using it, but it's only on top of the Wukong, who does have to flash away after getting hooked back. Explosive cast is good, forcing bluerzor to flash away. Nobody goes down, and the kiting is coming out. But it's Istanbul Wildcats, who are much healthier in terms of the health bars. They're going straight back onto that dragon.
There's the Rift Herald though from bluerzor in towards the mid lane, trying to see if they can get the response. Bao needs to be very careful. Good flash away.
Flash for flash. Yeah, we are going to see the Weaver's Wall come out as well, as they're going to stop the dragon going down. But you're going to get Bao coming back in on top of this. He's got the damage and pushing himself way further ahead. He doesn't need a front line because he knows that if he just gets excited, he can break the distance.
Someone does need to kill the Rift Herald in the mid lane though, which actually would just die to the L turret. Parus now trying to see if he can set up more. Destroys here, still his ultimate.
Yeah, that's a TP from the Gragas from the mid lane. Not the most effective use of it, if I'm being totally honest there, but wants to get himself there as quick as possible. Seismic Shield just top back, and a flash from Zwyroo means that he keeps himself safe. After all is said and done, it is still the Istanbul Wildcats coming out on top, and they're going to be able to take themselves their second dragon.
Yeah, even with the Wukong falling there, it's still going to be the case that they get the dragon. Zeri for Flakked going to try and respond to that top side. Will manage to get a turf for themselves, as well as that one in mid lane for Ivo. So again, we're seeing Istanbul Wildcats team fighting, two big thumbs up. Map play, still Heretics reading the game well and finding these little windows to gain more back for themselves.
Yeah, they may have lost the dragon, but they brought back the gold lead to only about 2,500, so definitely not a complete loss there for the Heretics. You got a second item now finished up. The Archangel Staff gets completed by the Taliah, and of course, Flakked does get himself the Runaan's Hurricane as well, so maybe we get themselves a little bit of a movement here. Ivo feeling confident to kind of keep the Wukong at bay. Just building up some rage off of the clone, but again, after all the dust has settled, it is still just a pretty even trade overall. I think Heretics will be very happy with the gold they were able to get.
The fact that they've managed to kind of push it back into 2.5k is good. Ultimate from Ivo.
Yeah, ultimate from Ivo, but ultimate there available for the side of the Gragas. But a flash away! Oh, it's beautiful from Ivo. Can he get over to the blast cone? That's the question. No, he cannot. You can see what he wanted to do. He wanted to blast cone, then hop, then maybe try and escape, but not able to do it. But still a 1-for-1 trade. Still think he's maybe a little bit aggressive. Yeah,
the flash as well being burnt. It looks fancy, but not having flash for some of these team fights is actually going to be kind of crucial, especially with, you know, third dragon potentially available for Istanbul Wildcats. I think having flash available is more valuable for that fight, but it will also open up the opportunity now for Istanbul Wildcats to push in on this top side with Kofte not having any sort of response to his push. But there's the play mid. Cleanse burnt to make sure this Jinx can escape.
And that's the big thing as well. You're burning summoners at different times. You're kind of coming out of it a little bit skewed, a little bit kind of like half-legged almost.
Oh, TP behind.
TP behind is big. If they can catch somebody out, there's going to be Destroy looking for a big flank, but he gets immediately stopped, so he's not going to be able to find the Zeri, but he will find the Blitzcrank. Good death sentence there on the Sejuani as the minions take the top tower as well. Flakked is a little bit by himself. He gets flashed and body slammed right in on top of him. Should be able to skate his way out though, and now they can maybe turn this one back around. Ivo looking to try and build up some rage, but he needs to be very aware that he has very little armor there as a little Gnar. It's a 2-for-none trade, but do they look for the Baron? This is risky.
You still have ultimate on the Gragas. That's going to be the key one that we'll have to see if Heretics can try and play around Parus. Looking for the hook on Ivo. Nerdy has the Mega Gnar, but again, no flash.
No flash. You talked about it earlier. The hook goes way wide. Ivo goes into Mega. Destroy not available with his ultimate and getting taken very low. The Weaver's Wall kind of separates this fight out as the Parus gets jumped on here. They're taking down the Baron, but the Thresh has already been killed. They're looking to try and kill off Destroy. The Baron has been secured, but can you get out alive? That is the question. Explosive gas comes in, but it delivers Ivo to the back of the line. Oh, Kofte, it's a disaster for you, and it's elation for Lost Heretics.
The wallop was sent directly onto Bao thanks to that cask. I mean, it was already probably going to end up pretty poorly there for the side of Istanbul Wildcats, but it's kind of insult to injury there, as now only Destroy, the one that's able to walk away with the Baron buff alongside Kofte, as Heretics try to set up a push in mid lane.
Look at the replay here, because again, it's all very low health bars, and they do a very good job of securing the Baron, but you can't be showing this Gnar right on top of your Jinx.
It's very split decision making though. few people trying to burst down the Baron. The other half are still trying to take the fight. So you never actually end up in a situation where it's even, and then, yeah, the wallop coming through there immediately sets up then for the follow-up on the Gnar. Kind of unfortunate there, but as you can see, at least it's destroying Kofte, getting out with the Baron buff. So 2 solo laners still have it. TP on Kofte means at least he can try and apply some pressure elsewhere with the minute until Baron. We'll have to see if we can get a rinse and repeat. But again, Flash is kind of burnt galore. Bao's going to be up very, very soon. Could be a difference maker here.
Ibo is dead. Super Mega Terror comes out. Kennen might be dying as well. They're going to try and kill him off. Destroy goes down. A flash burnt out by Marlon to try and keep him alive. But the Get Excited is going to come in, and the double kill happens for the Jinx. They're going to get a Flakked right back on top of this wall. But he helter-skelters away. They flash in on top of him. He's got the Immortal Shield Bow, but he's not going to be immortal for much longer. Only one ES can take that, and they're going to give it over to the lower health member. I like that there was a little moment there where Kofte thought maybe he should take it, but definitely good movements coming out here from Istanbul Wildcats as they look to try and continue a little bit more dominance into this mid-game.
Still, though, Zwyroo's trying to be a pain here as Elramir is trying to move over towards the dragon. He's found him.
He does have himself a flash. He gets the knockback there, but he's in no man's land. That lifeline ain't gonna do nothing for you. 6-2-5 now onto Bao on this Jinx. He's gonna reset, and I'm almost certain he's gonna have enough there for an Infinity Edge.
Yeah, that's going to be a very nice pickup, especially if he can even sell the coal there to make sure that he's able to get it, but going to hang on to it for the moment.
Need to.
Yeah, but still, this is going to be the 3rd dragon now going the way of Istanbul Wildcats with Zwyroo not there for another 20 seconds. There's not really much pressure that you can really put elsewhere on the map as well, with Baron down, with the waves being pushed in favor of Istanbul Wildcats. It was looking decent for a little bit for Heretics, where they were starting to close the gold lead, starting to play the map out better, but again, the team fighting from Istanbul Wildcats is just working out so much stronger.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like they're just dancing around these fights a lot cleaner. They're coming in with much, kind of stronger sense of what they need to do. And yes, I will say Zwyroo is fantastically big with that Void Staff finally being picked up, but it's just not enough unless you're catching out on Bao with a Cleanse, a Flash, and a Mikhail's Crucible. It's going to be difficult for you to really try and lock this Jinx down, and if you can't get her, if you're in a position to be hit by any of the rockets, you're going to die.
Yeah, again, you've also got the Flash coming up fairly soon for Destroy as well, which should be up before the Baron starts to really come available. You're looking at Ibo at least having his one back up, and maybe he can try and make some sort of big play, but as you say, it becomes very, very difficult with how well Istanbul Wildcats have been playing these fights. But now Heretics have a wave, and Istanbul Wildcats are on the wrong side.
Yeah, they have a wave, but they don't want to fully commit to try and take that one. And there's the Weaver's Wall, and they're going to put the Glacial Prison as well. They get the hook down onto Parus as they look to try and completely separate this one out. Ibo gets taken out first, and the Lantern to keep the Wukong alive. Flakked goes right into the enemy lines and tries to make that play work, but it's just not gonna happen. There's just too much happening around the map. It looked like Heretics had maybe found an opportunity, but they just couldn't make it stick.
And Destroy sees an opportunity himself. He immediately TPs onto the bot wave. Kofte is going to chase down bluerzor, make sure he can't reset. It looks like Istanbul Wildcats want to take this opportunity to crack open the base, as bluerzor has got nowhere to go and nowhere to hide.
Nowhere to hide, and that's going to be the ace coming in there. They're going to be able to push in these waves and really kind of put down the hurt. This could be the end of the game right here, right now, Dagda.
At least at the moment, doesn't look like they want to try and commit for it. Destroy not moving over with the Jinx, so they'll crack open mid, they'll crack open bot, they won't even get bot. So no inhibitor taken either as Elramir moved over towards the red buff. I think a bit of a mistake there. I think you could have got a lot more off that play, but either way, they got the team fight. And this here, I thought Ibo was going to be able to make a massive play there, but Bao gets a great flash away from the Gnar before he can reset up. You called out the Lantern there, gets Elramir back out of the problems, and then Bao, once he gets excited, is just free hitting onto everyone in this fight.
You can see that the health bars are so low as well in the back end of that fight for a lot of the front line for Istanbul Wildcats, but again, it doesn't matter. You finally have the Infinity Edge finished up for Flakked, but really not kind of in a position to kind of put down that damage yet. And already getting the guts of a Bloodthirster being built up here for Bao gives them extra security, extra survivability, and a Banshees for both the solo laners as well. So again, this Blitzcrank is kind of slowly losing relevance, and we talked about it right at the start of the draft, not having that exhaust. I know it was mainly for the Kennen, but even for something like the Jinx, it's really hurting Heretics right now.
You're not able to get the value out of the Blitzcrank in the early stages, and this is kind of what happens, right? And again, we kind of talked about maybe bluerzor and Zwyroo can work together, play around bot side, but bluerzor fairly muted, honestly, in a lot of these early games, hasn't really been able to find the impact that we were hoping for, and now it's kind of coming back to where Istanbul Wildcats with this massive 9-kill Jinx get to do what they want. Destroy has flash, looking for the flank, but is spotted.
Yeah, looking for a bit of a flying pod. They're going to be able to try and burn him down as quick as they possibly can. They will get him. He flashed and couldn't get the ultimate off. They try to jump on the Flakked, but the Wukong has nobody to follow up with him. This could be a massive hook, and it is! Bao gets himself out with the lantern, but he's already lose all his summoners. Can he get the spike going for himself? That is the question. We're going to see Baibo go jump in and make this one work. You need Flakked to pop off. Nobody's really jumping onto Bao as he tries to just keep kiting out this fight. These health bars are so low, and Heretics aren't done yet.
Now Parus going to see if he can get the hook, but it just misses. Bao!
Oh my lord, 1,000 gold shutdown comes out as Bao almost got the extra rocket there onto Ibo. And Heretics, they're not going to be able to end the game here, but they can run back for the Baron.
Great pick from bluerzor onto the Kennen means that as it's about to maybe go the way of Istanbul Wildcats, Heretics are able to pull it out of the bag. They turn immediately over towards the Baron. You can get this reset for the Dragon Soul that's just in a minute's time as well. It's perfect timing for Heretics, and that might have just been the fight that turned this game around.
I love that Ibo went back and immediately TP'd in just to secure, but let's have a look at this one here, because again, Destroy, like you say, gets caught out, and once that Banshees is down, they realize they can fully commit.
Yeah, I mean, just positioning here from Destroy, not great. You don't have any sort of follow-up, but because Parus moves to try and save the Kennen, it means that he's not really in a position to try and keep a lot of his team safe here. He does manage to provide a little bit of the CC, and Bao, they have to sidestep the ultimate from Ibo here, pretty big. But at this stage, the fight's already lost. There's just so much space for Flakked. He's getting a ton of damage off. Same when you look at this Taliah. Istanbul Wildcats just crumble as they have no top laner left.
It was close, though. One more auto attack maybe onto Ibo, and there could have been a very different story against Zwyroo. But we're coming back into live. This is Infernal Soul now, potentially for Istanbul Wildcats. Gonna get there right as the spawn comes in. Everyone's kind of there. You still have a stopwatch for Flakked. Destroys on a bit of a flank, but he's not behind enemy lines. There's a good hook there on top of Marlon, and they're gonna get another one. 2 death sentences in a row. Bao gets caught off right on the backside of this one here, but immediately gets to Mikhail's Crucible. It's not done just yet. These health bars are very low. You can see nobody's died inside of Istanbul Wildcats, but they're not exactly healthy. Sorry, Ibo just missed his ult.
Kofte still has the TP to come back in. They need to buy time for the reset. Destroy, trying to kite this one out.
He's trying to kite this one here, but now Ibo in a little bit of a mini form. He wants to try and get back up to his mega as quick as he possibly can. They're going to jump in on top of the Gnar, but Flakked kind of says, "We are here to defend you, my son." And they will be able to pick him up. Zwyroo trying to deal with the AD carry, but just getting himself broken down as Kofte and Bao pair themselves up to make sure they can get this fight. You still have the 2 TPs available. Actually, only 1 TP, I will say. As you can see, Destroy really wants to try and get himself back into base. He wants to try and get himself back into this fight. They haven't started up the Dragon just yet, as Heretics look to try and continue putting in their dominance. Remember, you do not have a jungler now on the side of Istanbul Wildcats. They can't flip this.
But you don't really have the range on Heretics side either. They need to get that hard engage. Ultimate's actually going to be back up for bluerzor in just a few moments. Ibo doing his damnedest to stop these resets.
Trying to need to stop this one here. They need to get himself... Oh, Ibo going to get the ultimate off. He cannot get the damage down. The Dragon is secured there by Heretics, but can they... Oh, it's stolen. No, it wasn't stolen. It was
whatever, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah. I was like, it's not Dragon Soul.
We got to keep ourselves going. Heretics going to try and jump themselves in. You've got no way of cleansing it for Bao, and he goes down. Flakked finally finds himself a fight that he can win. They're going to drop down the W, and another shutdown. Heretics bringing this one back from the brink.
How are these fights still going the way of Heretics? I mean, the fact that you actually get the Dragon, not stolen, claimed, whatever, by the Sejuani is huge, because that was basically going to be such a massively important soul here for the side of Istanbul Wildcats. And even here, again, Bao falls back to try and help with Ibo. Means the Heretics get to buy space, and Flakked then stepping up huge here. Great hook from Marlon. Manages to set up for the cleanse on towards the Zeri to finish off the AD carry. And finally, Heretics, they're slowly but surely getting themselves back here.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a slogfest right now. Everyone just got to throw in haymakers, and just it really feels like whoever falls down is going to be the loser of this, because both teams giving it their absolute all. Right now, it is a dead even game. The only real advantage right now is going to be that Dragon extra that Istanbul Wildcats have been able to pick themselves up, but Couple of turrets now going to be picked up, a bit more map pressure. Kofte with the Banshees, not going to be the easiest of targets to be able to take out. They do look to try and maybe scare him away. They do just that. They pick up that tier 2.
Still, though, you're getting control here.
No, we're good. We're good. Decoy. I got baited.
I think you're still getting a lot of control here for Heretics, though. Pushing top, mid. You don't really have anyone who can really push into destroy right now just because of the range advantage, but you're still getting a lot of control over this top side jungle, which is perfect for the Baron that's in 2 minutes. And I like the fact we're getting these kind of resets 2 minutes window here for the side of Heretics. You can push out all the waves once more, re-establish the vision that's in this top side jungle, get another quick reset in, and then look for the Baron. So making sure that you just keep Istanbul Wildcats on the back foot, and it's kind of the beauty of having something like the Jinx and the Gragas is you get to have a decent amount of wave clear, which Heretics might struggle with, especially if their plays aren't quite working out for them in these stages.
Yeah, I like the idea coming out from Los Heretics. They really kind of, put themselves in a position where they said, look, if we land this Mega Gnar ultimate, we get ourselves the CC down, we at least burn the flash off destroy, if not outright kill him. I
think it's kind of high risk, low reward, though. The big thing is, okay, well, we get bot tower. Well, realistically, I mean, you can still overload this side of the map and get bot tower after pushing in mid. Now you don't have that TP on the Taliah for the Baron, which was one of the plays. If you make that same play when Baron's up and available, then you can actually put a lot of pressure onto destroy and see if you can push him out of the lane. So I think it's just a little bit impatient from Heretics, and now you don't have that access to the Taliah. She still has the Weaver's Wall, but I think having the TP just makes it a little bit more impactful if you try to make that play.
All right, coming up now, 34.5 minutes into this game. Gold does not mean a damn thing. We are starting to see full builds coming out right now. You are looking for a LDR for Bao to kind of finish all off with a nice little bow on top. You still have a stopwatch here for Flakked, so still not burning that particular cooldown is very, very important. Important to note that Elramir also has his stopwatch available to him, and you would love to have Destroy finish off that death cap before this next fight. 20 seconds, though. I don't know if he's going to have time.
I mean, he's desperately trying to get the wave, but they already gave that to Bao to make sure that Bao could hit all of his items, so it means that the Kennen kind of gets left out to dry here a little bit. Still, though, Istanbul Wildcats trying to push in towards the mid lane so they can keep control over that river opportunity, but they got to be so careful. They're walking into no vision, and Marlon's there with the hooks.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. A couple of Banshees that can cover them, but remember, they have a bit of a cooldown themselves. You would love to knock off one. There it is. So now Kofte, you can see immediately not as brave to walk forward. They're gonna throw out the Super Mega Decker just in case they weren't able to see what was going on in that Baron pit. So away on a couple of blue wards as well, or blue trinkets, I should say, to try and make sure they can have that vision control. Level 18 hit over there by Zwyroo, who does have the death cap available to him. Set ourselves up, Destroy on a flank. Ibo looking to try and get on top of this 4-man stack as he goes into the Mega.
There's so much vision around this top side, though. Destroy's finding it really hard to get the flank, and they go.
They go in. They're going to see the Mikhail's Crucible come out of the Cyclone as well. 2-man knockback into the wall. The redemption for bluerzor keeps people relatively healthy, but this Jinx is shredding right now. Flakked finds himself separated from his team, but not killed off just yet. The dragon is spawning in 10 seconds, and immediately Los Heretics recognized they needed to shift their control, shift their vision, and get themselves into that side of the map.
Yeah, bluerzor's ultimate down, though, means that Istanbul Wildcats know that they are at an ult disadvantage, so they're trying to play up towards Baron, see if they can draw Heretics in, but it has to be on Destroy. He has to find the flank, and again, you're playing into the vision that Heretics is already set up.
Flacked's not here. He's taking the dragon. They're going to know he's going to be taking the dragon down in a couple of seconds. They make them fully commit for this dragon, or Baron, I should say. Yeah, there we go. 2,000, 4,000. Not taken away. It is secure. They're going to try and get themselves over the wall and try and kill off Elramir. The jungler of Los Heretics has gone down. Zwyroo taking so much damage. There's a hook onto Ibo. He's about to go Mega. Can they kill him before he does? Yes, they can. And these are very long death timers right now, Dagda. There's a lot that you can do here with this Baron as Istanbul Wildcats.
Yeah, Istanbul Wildcats going to look for the reset, look to heal up, and then come back out. Maybe they could have just had the two solo laners reset as they continue to push in, but they get the crucial fight destroyed on vision. Means the Heretics are a little bit split when they try to go into this. Zwyroo has to try and play behind the back foot. Flakked isn't really in a position to come in here because he's only just finished the dragon, and Parus, great hook onto Ibo, nearly manages to catch the Zeri off the back of this as well. But Istanbul Wildcats play that very well, draw Heretics in towards the Baron area, so they have the advantage in the 4 versus 5.
Well, Flakked won't be using that stopwatch for breaking in. He's turned it into a fully fledged GA. The Cosmic Drive as well coming in for Zwyroo. So we're at full build here for the AD carries, full build here for Zwyroo as well. We are hitting critical mass between these two teams. It's 3 dragons apiece, both on soul point. Neither team giving an inch because they know the other will take a mile.
I mean, this is the battle for first. So much is on the line. Hook goes wide for Parus. Istanbul Wildcats want to try and make sure they can end the game off this Baron push. Heretics trying to see if they can desperately clear the way.
Don't want to give up your last ditch effort of defense against a tier 2. Very much want to be keeping that for the inhibitors. Remember, the inhibitor turrets on bot lane and in mid have all been taken. So, gets himself away, flashes out of that one there, and that's what we were talking about. But Marlon is now dead. You've got to try and defend this now 4v5.
I think he's still a decent wave clear. At least on Zwyroo, trying to see if he can cut off the wave, but great flash forward.
Great flash forward. They're going to see now Parus going in. They do land the Glacial Prison, but it's just a kind of delay right now. Weaver's Wall just stop the minions from coming in. They need to defend this. They cannot let this line fall.
Destroy, trying to put pressure on towards the mid inhibitor and also put pressure on towards the potential flank on top turret. No wave means that Istanbul Wildcats will back away, but they've got a big wave that's building in bot side. They should be here momentarily. Just keep Heretics back underneath their Nexus towers and you can go and collect that. Ibo. Try to push out this bot side, but that's going to be the next inhibitor falling once more for Istanbul.
Yeah, you see Parus going for that death set in such a low cooldown now, especially if he hits it. I think it's like 3 or 4 seconds. We'll get Marlon coming back in, but they've lost 2 inhibitors after the fact. You've got pretty decent wave clear available to you with the Taliah, the Zeri, and of course the Gnar, but how long can you defend? Still a couple of seconds left on this Baron.
Now, going to start to move up, clear out this wave. We'll just about get this wave to the turret, but then the Baron book will fall off, so some of Wildcats just going to back away. I think they'll be happy with what they got thus far. Dragon in 2 minutes. They really want to get vision on the spot side.
Destroy, a little bit separated. Doesn't get caught out, doesn't lose his Banshees. And you can see Ibo keeping himself and his opposite number honest. We come back into this and we're still not ever really closer to figuring out who's going to be able to win this one here. We're kind of waiting for things. Again, the wave clear is exceptional from the side of Lost Heretics, but out of Baron to push in those super minions, you're not really going to be able to gain anything. And we see the boots being sold by Bao to give himself a GA.
Yeah, I mean, this means that he's highly reliant on Parus for the repositioning team fights, but I think it's the right call. You've even got the Shrelia's Reverie to make sure that you have relatively decent movement speed in these fights. But at this stage, we are hitting uber late game. One mistake can cost everything, and again, even one hook from Marlon could be the difference maker here, and Everfrost could lock down enough people to actually make it a play. But mid until Dragon, so for both teams, Istanbul Wildcats don't really have vision, and it doesn't really look like they're in a position that they can actually start to push forward if Marlon is there. But Heretics not really getting themselves out of base fast enough to really contest Istanbul Wildcats, so they do manage to get some deep vision here. Destroy has that TP, trying to see if he can put pressure on towards the top side as well to draw Heretics around the map.
No flash on Bao. That's the big kind of cooldown I'm noticing on the side of Istanbul Wildcats. You will not have flash onto Zwyroo either, so my eyes on where these engages come from and where did they go. If anyone knows who Cotton Eye Joe is, 1200 on those rockets right now is absurd. They are just going to be able to shred through anybody, regardless of the items you've been able to build up for yourself. It feels like whoever gets caught out will be the one that kind of suffers the defeat, but for the moment, you can see the pressure being mitigated by these super minions from the side of Lost Heretics. They will have to deal with bot lane fairly soon, and that's going to be a bit of a thorn in their side as they look to try and contest this Dragon in 10 seconds.
And that's what they're waiting for here in Istanbul Wildcats. Just, hey, look, Dragon spawns, Bao can solo. We have Banshee's Veil on 2 of our frontliners, so we don't have to worry about the immediate engagement with bluerzor. So, but this gives opportunity for Destroy to get into a decent flank position.
They got it. That's secured. That's the Infernal Soul now. The TP's coming in. Yeah, like you said, they know it's coming though, and that's going to be Marlon going down straight away. They try to turn back on the Destroy, but he immediately gets himself out of the fight. They're going to use the Weaver's Wall to get the Taliah out, but can anyone else escape? That's the real question. Flakked gets himself over the wall. bluerzor follows him over. You did lose your support. You've lost the Infernal Soul now. Is that enough for the side of Istanbul Wildcats?
35 seconds until Baron, so you're going to have to try and find something here. Ultimates galore used on Istanbul Wildcats. Again, it's Destroy, the last man standing with that ultimate available. Whereas when you look across at the side of Heretics, they still have at least some of these engage tools. Ibo, can you finally find that big engage? Not if you're dead, but they got Elramir.
Oh, Elramir taking that dark passage to the light right now, and it's getting very testy. These health bars are going so low. Even the tankiest members can't really stand up to sustain damage from anybody, I'm being totally honest, on the side of either side. So it's going to be about those big key CC moments.
Look at Destroy. Will be spotted on a ward, but he's trying to find his way in behind them. Istanbul Wildcats are very far away, but he's just been sitting in this side bush. I don't know if Heretics has spotted him out yet.
Don't know he's there, but I don't think Istanbul Wildcats have perfect vision either. As the rocket goes wide, it's going to be Zwyroo coming back to deal with his minions. They'll see him now, and they'll start the Baron up immediately. Ibo in the Mega.
Zwyroo's in base
taking
as
a lot of damage. Destroy knows he has vision. They're going to get the TP in coming in. He's looking for a bit of a flank. I think they just caught him off the last bit of vision. He's going to try and get himself on the backside. He finds himself with a perfect slicing maelstrom, and you can see to get the GA out of the Zeri. The Kennen has fallen though. Can Bao get himself in a good position to carry this? The answer is absolutely yes. Quadra kill for the Istanbul Wildcats. AD carry, as we can see one more auto just go on to Zwyroo as he weaves himself away. It may not be a penta, but it's definitely going to be the game and the first seed.
They really want to give it to Bell though. Kofte with the setup. The auto come through.
Pentakill for Bao, and Istanbul stamp their authority on this group and secure themselves the first seed.
With style as well. Bao, nearly 20 kills on this Jinx. I don't know what the record is for the most kills in a EMEA Masters game. I think we're going to need to find that out, because
bloody close.
That is absolutely absurd from the AD carry.
What a battle between these two teams. We can see them just slowly take it in. Look at your final game in groups. You definitively took down your rival for that #1 spot, and you are able to get yourself over to the quarterfinals with that first seed. We'll let them have a little bit of fun, but wow, what a back and forth game.
That was incredible. I mean, the fact that you actually managed to get Heretics playing the map incredibly well, making sure they're able to keep this game so even, trading like mid and top tier ones for the second dragon. They're trying so desperately to keep themselves in check, but fortunately, it just gets a little bit too close in those team fights, and it all ends up tossing the way of the Istanbul Wildcats. Although Flakked, I've got to say, to make it very difficult for them in a lot of those fights.
Yeah, he really, really did. We can have a look at it right now. Just kind of small moments for Los Heretics kind of brought themselves back into the day. They always kept themselves within arm's reach, and that was the big thing. That's why this game went to 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long one, and I think it was, if we had a little bit of more control from Heretics, quickly getting back out on the map, working alongside Marlon, the Blitzcrank, maybe they could have found a couple of these key picks before the fight really kicked off. But with double Banshee Veil coming through, with Elramir and the Wukong being able to use that clone to avoid a lot of it, it was very, very difficult for them to try and find those windows, and just unfortunately not quite able to deal with what was a fantastic flank from Destroy that finally managed to get that big moment he was looking for in the Kennen and set up the pentakill for Bao.
Call it so early as well. Just so much you have to worry about from Los Heretics to kind of really get them to, you know, deal with so many threats. And look, I gotta be honest with you, that there were moments where they were dealing with them, despite losing so many times and getting like picks against them. They weren't really able to kind of, you know, 100% get that clean fight, but they were always keeping it close. I love this from Parus. He recognizes, you know what, I'm gonna die anyway. You're coming down with me as well. Love the fact that they were able to kind of go for that. But again, just such creative moves here, and it really did feel like, again, it came down to how you executed these fights and who was able to get their CC off first.
I'm not gonna lie, there was so much action in this game that I'm like, I've forgotten that some of these played happen. You know, I'm like remembering
oh yeah, this was this game.
This existed. Yeah. But again, like very, very well played by Istanbul Wildcats when it came towards the team fights, and I think that was really the big difference maker here. Heretics really did try their best, but unfortunately it's like little things like this where you end up where you have control in the fight to kick things off. Flakked does a really good job alongside Marlon with a fantastic hook here to turn this fight around, but not being able to find those moments then in the side lanes to push the game forward, cleanly try and take the outer turrets down, get control of the map, set up your vision. It kind of just came back to bite them, and then eventually Istanbul Wildcats, off of this fantastic flank from Destroy, find that moment to get on towards Flakked and make sure the AD carry can't do anything.
I mean, yeah, like just a perfect storm literally coming out from the Kennen to set up everything for the AD carry of the Istanbul Wildcats. And look, you know, that's the kind of power that Jinx gives you. You can see it so many times. Those rockets were doing so much. You gotta love Kofte kind of getting himself in and saying, nah, we're gonna give you everything we possibly can here.
What a bro.
I also love that Parus threw down the lantern shield to be like, I want an assist. I want that KDA, just because he knew he was never going to get anywhere near to be able to help him out. But fantastic to see, and I mean, the damage says it all, really.
61,000 damage from Boundless Jinx. Full item, so boots, and looking absolutely fantastic as a result. It was a very close game. Now you can see the gigantic cliff that kind of happened in around that 30-minute mark where we started to get the turn back over for Heretics, but unfortunately they just weren't quite able to get it across the line.
No, it wasn't, unfortunately. And look, you know, again, it's a bittersweet moment. They will get themselves into the quarterfinals, but I do believe we have the mid laner of the Istanbul Wildcats standing by, ready for a little bit of a chat with us there. Kofte, first of all, of course, congratulations on getting yourselves the first seed. I gotta say, like, when you play a 45-minute game like that, how does your mental kind of deal with that level of kind of, you know, gameplay?
I mean, it wasn't really hard for us because we was like usually winning, so it was kind of fun game for us. We win early like kind of easy, but we had to make it spicy for the fans, so that's what happened.
So how does it feel then kind of coming into the EMEA Masters for the first time? I mean, obviously this game was very spicy, but what's been your take so far? Have you been impressed with the level of talent, or what have you found that you've already been pushed in a lot of games, or is it just a case of, hey, you want to keep it spicy?
Like it wasn't really hard for us, but this first game was a bit different because we didn't expect them to draft like that. So only that was hard. I didn't really watch other games too much, so I can't say that I'm impressed. But in our group, I think it was kind of easy.
Well, it's good to hear that you're kind of feeling confident going in. Of course, you have made it to the quarterfinals now. You're going into the first seed. Is there any team that you maybe either don't want to face or do want to face to kind of, you know, put yourselves further on in this competition?
You just said it's going to be easy, you know?
Yeah. I really don't want to face Foot because like we are like 2 Turkish teams, so I want to meet them in finals at least, not before that. And all other teams, like mostly LFL, because we have a good rivalry between LFL and TCL, so I would like to face LFL teams and not TCL teams only.
Nice, good to hear. I'm noticing a trend as well between LFL teams talking very highly of TCL and vice versa as well.
Yeah.
Kind of always wanted to get their things in, but yeah, I mean, other than that, could we expect anything, you know, maybe spicy from you guys coming out here? You know, in the quarterfinals, are you cooking up anything fun that you can maybe tell us about?
We are cooking, but I can't really tell that. It's a secret, so. But we will see in quarterfinals, so.
I'm excited. Again, congratulations to you and your team for getting yourselves into the top of the group, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the quarterfinals.
Thank you.
All right, well, no, feeling very confident. I like that. And again, I love the fact that we're seeing again from LFL and stuff, but it is just kind of a fun way for them to kind of go for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see kind of what the secret sauce is that they're cooking up as well. Because definitely after seeing this game, it was kind of standard. I mean, obviously the draft wasn't anything surprising, but I think the fact that they're able to lean so heavily into those team fights, I think is going to do them very well as we start to crest into the bracket stage.
Yeah, we're going to be having ourselves a little bit of a doubleheader of interviews. We do believe we have Lost Heretics mid laner Zwyroo coming in here from the side of Lost Heretics, and again, as a blank screen, I hope he can hear us. Zwyroo, can you hear us?
Hear? Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, you're
hello.
blank screen on ours, but I'm assuming we could chat to you anyway. Obviously, it's a tough loss. It was a long game for you guys, but you had already secured the quarterfinals coming into this one here. And how have you kind of adapted to the new kind of TCL teams coming in here? And you know, kind of has it been a refreshing new take on these kind of, you know, teams coming into this competition?
I mean, as you can see, or you could see, we didn't adapt it. Was kind of hard games against them. Like 2 games against TCL team, we lost. Like they are good, but we found a way. The Jace is the strong pick for them. They really like it. Next time, if we get them in the next stage.
And how do you feel about your chances now? Because a lot of the talks are LFL versus TCL. I mean, do you feel like you guys are coming in as the underdogs? Do you feel like you're not being represented well enough? Like, how do you feel about this?
I think for now, it's hard to say who will win. Like same as last EU Masters, we were underdogs. We didn't perform best, but after the groups, something happened to us, and we started to like winning everyone. So I think the same will happen, but I can't guarantee that.
And obviously, you're still in the quarterfinals. Still great to see you guys kind of go into that as well. But is there, obviously, you won't be facing the Istanbul Wildcats. Is there any team you would like to face going into that? You want to maybe push your luck against, or is it, you know, kind of you'll take on anybody?
Maybe the other TCL team or some LFL, like some Geo maybe. It's not like anything special, but it would be fine to match them.
That's awesome to hear. We very much look forward to it. Of course, congratulations to making a quarterfinals, and we look forward to seeing your bounce back. And thank you for the interview.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice night. My night will be a bit worse, obviously, because we lost. But we still went out from the group, so it will be fine.
Lots of practice, I imagine. Lots and lots of practice. Thank you so much, Zwyroo. And look, I love the fact that he's coming into that. Look, you know, he already quarterfinals, but still high-spirited. You know, kind of feeling like, yeah, we messed up today. We'll come back for it. It won't be an issue.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see again the fact that it hasn't got them down in the dumps. They know that they'll be able to bounce back. I mean, even referencing the fact that they kind of reflourished, I'll say, after group stage last time around. So hopefully we'll see a very similar story for the LVP second seed.
Yeah, well, I do have a little update on our schedule as well, because Group A is pretty much dead and done. Nothing can really change there. We're going to move our focus over to Group D. We're going to go back and come into this one here because we still have a little bit of an issue there. They do not know who their second team is going to be. It is going to be the Greek representatives versus the German as well. And again, this is a big moment here for both these sides, and I'm excited to see it. It's enough talking from us, though, Dagda. We're going to send it to a break. We'll see you soon.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Did anybody see Gragas KitKat?